Want to make this awesome looking desk lamp out of a few pieces of scrap wood? We'll show you how after this. I'm Kyle with Adventures at Home, and in today's video we're going to make this awesome spiral wooden desk lamp. At Adventures at Home, we love all things DIY, and we post new tutorial videos weekly. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now let's get into the video. The first thing we're going to be working on in this project is the 7 square frames that make up a majority of the lamp. We're going to make the 5x5 frames out of 1/2 inch thick wood. Because our goal is to make this out of only scrap wood, we're going to be using primarily 2x4s for this project. So the first step is going to be cutting 7 1/2 inch strips out of a 2x4. We're going to need about 4 foot of 2x4 for this project, but we made it easier on ourselves to rip them down by cutting the 2x4 in half first, so we have 2 24-inch lengths. After getting all of our 1/2 inch strips cut down, it's time to cut all of our pieces to their final length and put 45-degree miters on them at the same time. We're going to need 4 5-inch long pieces to make one square, and you can get this out of one of the pieces of 2x4 you just ripped down. When you're done, you should have 28 pieces altogether. If you really want to pay attention to the details on this, make sure you keep all 4 pieces in a separate pile so you can line up the grain of the wood when you assemble the frames. It is also a really good idea to check your saw with a speed square or another comparable tool prior to starting to make sure you're getting perfect 45-degree angles every time. Now that all the pieces are cut, we can set to work gluing them all together. The easiest way I have found to accomplish this is to use painter's tape to hold them all together while the glue dries. First, lay out the 4 pieces in the order you want, paying attention to the grain lining up if you're feeling so inclined. Then, rip off a piece of tape slightly longer than the length of all the pieces put end to end. Thirdly, lay all of the pieces on the painter's tape, ensuring all of the ends are perfectly aligned and touching. Next, add a dab of glue to all of the ends, and then work your way around the frame, lining up all the pieces as you go. After the glue is set, go ahead and remove all the painter's tape. Now is a good time to take a chisel and just clean up any drips that may have occurred during the gluing process as well. Next, to give the frames a more finished look, we're going to add a round over edge to all of the edges using our router table. Make sure to feed the frames through the router at a pretty good pace to avoid burning the wood, but slow down as you reach all the corners to prevent having tear out on the edges. After all the frames have a nice rounded over edge on them, we can get to work sanding them all down so they are prepared for assembly. Remember, the longer time you spend sanding, the easier it will be to get everything glassy smooth when applying your finished coat. While I'm working on this, I just wanted to remind you guys about our website and our other social media sites. You can find all of our projects categorized on adventuresathomellc.com. We'd also like to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook. We post there daily, and it's a great way to connect with us. And it's also a great way for you to share some of your project ideas with us. And if we choose to use one of your smaller projects and build it in our videos, we're going to try and do our best to send you that project for free. We can't wait to connect with you. We worked all the way up to 320 grit sandpaper, and this really made a difference when it came time to put the finish on the project. Next, we can set to work making the base. We used a scrap piece of 1x6 for this. We cut the scrap piece a little bit oversized with the chop saw, and then cut it down on the table saw to its finished dimensions of 5 inches by 5 inches, the exact size of the frames we just made. After the base has been cut down to its finished size, we can use the same round over bit to put a nice rounded edge on the base. Notice that we are only rounding over the top edge of the base though, and leaving the bottom edge untouched. Now it's time for assembly. We went back and forth on how to do this for a while, and had started marking the exact angle that every piece should be skewed to. But in the end, we just decided to move forward with the assembly and use the far easier method of eyeballing it to get everything lined up. This actually worked really well, and you can't tell the frames aren't perfectly rotated unless you look really closely at them. After that decision, assembly was really straightforward, and all it takes is to put a dab of glue on the 4 contact points on each frame and work your way up the lamp. After all the pieces have been glued, just place something heavy on top to add a little bit of pressure while the glue dries. Next, it's time to mount our cleat socket on the base. We chose a cleat socket because of the ease of installation and because we don't have to worry about someone inadvertently sticking their hands inside the lamp while it's plugged in and not knowing to not touch the wires. All this step requires is finding the center of the base, centering the socket on the base, marking the 2 mounting holes, drilling 2 pilot holes, and screwing the socket down. Now, I bought the lamp cord, plug, and switch separately, and I hooked all those up. I'm not going to show you how to do that. If you're comfortable working with electrical components, great. This should be an easy installation for you. If not, please seek some expert help in this step. Electrical work is not something you want to get wrong. Next, we can mount the lamp to the base. We skewed the lamp at a great enough angle that we could just run the cord out of the gap left between the corner of the frame and the base. Once you have the lamp in place on the base, place something heavy on the top for a few hours again to let the glue set. Now we can put a great finish on the lamp. We chose to use tung oil for our finish. We really love how it leaves the wood looking natural, but does a great job of bringing out the grain in the wood. Just look at that grain pop. Now all that's left to do is add our light bulb. We chose to use a colored LED bulb. We chose blue to match the glow of our desktop computer that we just built. We also highly recommend using an LED bulb for this, as it doesn't get nearly as hot as an incandescent would inside of the lamp. Here's where we're curious to hear your feedback. We weren't sure whether or not we liked to limit the light that was coming out of the top of the lamp or not. Comment down below and let us know if we should or shouldn't add a top to the lamp in the future. So there you have it, a really great way to make a cool looking desk lamp that definitely looks custom and is going to bring life to any desk you put this on. As you saw in the video, there's definitely ways for you to customize this lamp to fit your decor style, so don't be afraid to customize this as you build. If you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That'll let you know the next time our next video posts. And until next video, I'm Kyle, helping you create your own adventure at home.